Greetings, Aquarians. This reading is for anyone who identifies as or is terribly interested in an Aquarian energy at this time. It is the 21st of January 2019 as I'm recording. And you've got the Three of Cups reversed and the Ten of Coins reversed showing immediately, Aquarians. These are wolf blood moon messages. So it's a few hours after the total lunar eclipse in Leo that marked our wolf full moon this month, this year. And so what we're looking at here in this reading is the energy for you at that blood moon and following the blood moon. Thank you for liking, subscribing, donating, and if you're interested in a private reading, just scroll down to the description. To go ahead and get started though, Aquarians, for a lot of us, we're looking at a lack of celebration in our lives currently, to some extent. Some of us, that's because there are things that we should be celebrating or could be celebrating that it would behoove us to celebrate, that it would make us happier to celebrate, but we're focused on other things. Perhaps our financial independence and attaining that, because it does look like we are crossed with a lack of funds and wealth and abundance, or at least we feel like we are. So perhaps we feel like we're unable to celebrate for that reason, right? The blood moon itself, once that total lunar eclipse was exact, or the time period leading up to the moon was involved something very much fated for Aquarians, with the Wheel of Fortune showing up in your recent past. Let me just see all of what we're looking at. Yeah, I think for a lot of us Aquarians, in general, the vibe I'm getting so far is that we are so focused on creating our financial independence, which we are, in fact, headed toward. That's our most distant outcome here. And the piece of advice it offers us on how to get there is to, and I'm sure a lot of you are sick of hearing this, show gratitude for that which you already have now that makes you feel abundant. But yeah, we're so focused on either starting a business or a new job, being the boss of our life. Maybe the boss in our business, but certainly being the authority figure, the boss in our life, with the Emperor showing up as what is on our mind when our ego is quiet. Now, some of us are also preoccupied with thoughts of a potential male counterpart, maybe a suitor, or perhaps actually your male counterpart at this time. But I would suggest to you that fixation is very much linked to the fact that you actually want to be the masculine authority in your own life. And for a lot of us, that means gaining the amount of resources that would allow us to do that, which would be, a Ten of Cups upright situation, whereas it's showing up reversed as what's crossing you. So maybe you've had an actual loss in funds. Some of us recently have spent more money on something than we thought we would need to or meant to, or expected money to come in that didn't. But for others, it's not that we don't have, it's just that we don't feel that we have what we deserve, that we have enough for everything that we need resources for. And so if there has been a loss, or there has been a moment in the recent past where money that was supposed to come in or that you thought would come in did not, again, I see that it was a fated event. It was meant to be. It was meant to lead you to learning this lesson now, which is that we will perpetuate lack in our lives if we fail to celebrate the wins, the successes, the abundance, the wealth that we are capable of enjoying currently. Some of you might associate this message to the law of attraction or the law of resonant frequencies. I've heard it more aptly referred to. But in general, whether we like the way that, whether or not we like the rules and the laws of this multiverse, whether or not we like the fact that that principle, whatever name you want to give to it, does very much describe the way that we attract and magnetize and resonate with certain frequencies in this reality, it continues to be true. I am not beyond the thought that we may see a shift that affects us all and the way that this multiverse works, that affects that principle. I mean, at some point in human existence, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but currently things do seem to work that way. Things do seem to be, it feels like they're being magnetized to you, right? But actually you're able to be on the same frequency with other experiences and other people and other things that you want to, I don't want to use the word attract, but that you want to attract into your life, right? And because it's less attraction and it's less magnetizing things, and it's more so meeting these things by reaching the same frequency that they're on. So maybe it would help to frame it that way, to think of it that way. I honestly think that describing it that way is a more accurate way of getting in touch with what we're talking about. You're not so much calling things towards you. It feels like that, it plays out like that in human existence, but what we're doing more so is meeting the experiences, the wealth, the people, the places that we would want to call in to our life if we could just call them in. We're meeting them there by reaching that frequency, and we find them there. We find that we meet them there. So there's a lack of celebration, and you've heard it said, and again, this may be irritating, it may be frustrating. I can really feel that emotion coming through for you, and I can relate to it. But you do have something to celebrate, right? We have something to celebrate. And I'm going to repeat the example that you've heard a dozen times on YouTube and in videos like this, because it's an easy one, right? You're watching this on something. You're watching this video on a phone or a computer or a friend's phone or computer and or something, right? So there's one or two things that you have to be thankful for right there. But more so for Aquarians at this time, we're talking about celebrating, not just sighing and saying, okay, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the sun coming up. I'm grateful for waking up. Yeah. Not just writing it down in a journal and checking it off a list. Okay, I did my gratitude journal today. We're talking about evoking the emotion and reaching the frequency that we want to by celebrating. How else, if you can't get yourself to that emotional frequency, if you can't get yourself that excited without actually having something to celebrate, then look around and celebrate what you have to celebrate. Literally, Have a celebration in the name of your and Johnny's friendship. Tonight, you two are blowing off work and you're not doing your normal routine. You're literally going to celebrate for no other reason than the fact that not everybody has a friend like the two of you have in one another. And it is cause for celebration. And oh my gosh, Aquarians, I could literally cry right now because some of you are overlooking that. Your relationships, your friendships, your family members, not everyone has those connections. They may seem like they're a dime a dozen to you, or it may seem like it's just like it's just scenery in your world, just sort of, oh, these people are always here, they're always around. But trust me, not everyone has those connections, and they are worth celebrating. So whether it's friendship or the tech you have in your life, like I said, maybe it's faulty, maybe it's cracked, but you still have it. Or just what you had for dinner, or just the show that you enjoyed watching this evening, however simple it is. A quote that you heard in the last week that vibed with you, that made you feel good even for a second. Have a celebration of some type, whatever celebration means to you, in name of those things, in honor of those things, because that's pretty much what the message is you're feeling a lack of celebration, you're feeling a lack of abundance, you're feeling a loss. And with the 10 of coins in reverse, it indicates to me, especially in this reading, that you have more than just a few things to be grateful for. You do have a lot. You have a lot of wealth and a lot of abundance. It's just not enough. Maybe what it is it's not enough to amount to financial independence, financial freedom, making your own choices with your time and your money and your trips and your spending on things that some would consider frivolous, etc. Some of you, have enough to cover your bases, but you want to be able to travel, right? And that financial freedom would allow you to step into this Emperor energy, to wield the power in your own life, to govern your own life as you see fit, to rule your world in a sense, to be in charge, again, to be the authority in your life. And that getting to that financial freedom, that financial independence would allow for that. But it looks like you're also thinking, you have a time on the horizon coming where you feel unable to defend yourself, which makes me think that you're thinking that being an emperor, being the authority, being the power and the leader in your own life means having to defend yourself. And you want to be careful about preparing a defense for things that aren't necessarily coming, because that too is leading you to a frequency where you're a match with other things that are on that frequency. So in essence, what it ends up looking like is that it seems like you're attracting or magnetizing these negative experiences to yourself, where you would have to defend yourself. Again, it's not so much that as it is you're putting yourself in an emotional state that's leading you to meet those experiences on the frequency they're already at. They're there, and then you work yourself into an emotional state, or lead yourself to solidify, hold on to a limiting belief, and suddenly you're a match for those experiences. Suddenly you've met them on that frequency. It plays out like calling them in, but it's more like you're actually doing the legwork to meet them there. So if you're going to do the legwork to meet the experiences there, you definitely want them to be the experiences that you want, right? Beneficial, positive, happy, healthy. The healthiest ones. And so you want to be careful about preparing for this time in the more distant future. still likely by the end of the month. No more than the beginning of next, where you feel unable to defend yourself. It's like you see a time coming relatively soon where you're going to need this money that you either just lost or were counting on that didn't come in, or maybe just that for some of us, we're working really hard for it and we're not seeing the results turn around, right? And we feel it makes us prepare to be defenseless and thus manifest that very experience. In the nearer future, you have a decision to make, and it's likely about exactly what we've been talking about. Continuing to stay in a lack mindset or choosing to adopt an abundance mindset. Now, the reason that I'm huffing and puffing and I sound a little frustrated in this reading is because I feel like a broken record. I feel like I'm saying things that I've heard other people say a million times. I feel like I'm saying things to you that you've already heard a million times. But again, it's destined for you to be learning this lesson at this time. I think what's really important to allow to come through here from me to you is that if there was a loss, or there was a time when you thought money was going to come in and it didn't, it was meant to not come in, or you were meant to lose that money. You needed to reach this place where you learn how to put yourself into a celebratory emotional state. A lot of you finding this message, Aquarians, are needing to learn how to create an emotion, to fabricate an emotion, really is what it is. Now, it's not faking it, because a fabrication makes it sound like you're faking it. A fake smile won't work. You literally have to emit the emotion, to feel the emotion. So you want to call it forth by, literally realizing, having a mental shift that takes you into the energy of, oh, I do have things we're celebrating, I'm going to celebrate them. Not sighing and shrugging and saying, okay, let's go through the motions of a celebration because that's the advice that the tarot gave me today. That's not the advice. It won't work like that. And most of you know that, but you're stuck in a place where you know that you see the choreography to the dance that you're supposed to be doing. You just aren't quite sure how to get your body to do it. And the best advice that I can see coming through here is acknowledge that you are meant to learn this lesson. This lesson is for you. These things aren't happening to you. They're happening for you. And you're led to this moment in time where you learn this lesson. And then literally have a fucking outright celebration, whatever that means to you. Right? Good meal, good drinks, good friends, whatever that means to you. A celebration in the name of the littlest things. Whatever it is that you do have to be grateful for, whomever you have to be grateful for, whatever tiny, simple pleasures. So that you can turn this Seven of Wands around, so that you are ready to defend yourself when and if a situation arises where you'll need to. And for some of you, again, it may be directly related to a divine masculine who is or is not aiding you in this endeavor, in this situation, who is or is not questioning you in this situation. For some of you, what you're overlooking that you have to be grateful for is your divine masculine partner. He's very much something to be celebrated for some of you. For others, we're talking about, well, for most of you that have found this message, we are talking about learning this lesson now because it's going to be important in the near future. And again, it's a little, I'd say this year, in the relatively near future, it's going to be very important that you know how to exercise this ability of you. We can all create an emotion that we would prefer in place of one that we're feeling that we don't like. We can all be mindful enough to say, I don't choose to embody and send out the frequency of this emotion. I choose to put myself in one I like better. And it can feel uncomfortable. It can feel forced. It can feel fake. I completely relate to that. Which is why I started this off with saying I'm not above thinking that there may eventually be a shift in the way that these things work, because so many people don't like the way that it works. And I think that's why, it feels forced, it feels fake to manifest this emotion that wasn't the one that truly arose in you to begin with. But if you think about it, those emotions that authentically or genuinely arose in your mind were caused by someone or something else. So why is that more natural than choosing the one that you want to create within yourself, that you want to send out as a frequency, that you want to allow to lead you to meeting the experiences and the wealth and the abundance that you want to have? It's not necessarily less any more natural just because you've let your environment or the people around you cause an emotion in you, rather than choosing one in yourself that you want to create, right? And I think that's a choice coming up. Are you going to choose to continue on in this lack mindset, or are you going to take this opportunity to learn this lesson about how to create the, for example, in this instance, at this time, celebratory emotion in us that promotes health and wealth and well-being and happiness that sometimes we have to find and even create and fabricate, if you want to say it that way, on our own. Again, I would emphasize that it's just as natural, it's just as real, it's not any more forced than the ones that you're allowing to happen to you by reacting to experiences and people outside of yourself. And that's something that I am telling to myself as I'm telling it to you. I'm a lunar Aquarian and I have trouble with that very thing. And so I'm like reminding myself of this message as I'm saying it to you. But yeah, what I really sense coming is there's going to, this, attaining your financial independence, for some of you, eventually then attracting in the male counterpart that you want, if you don't already have that person in your life, right? That all seems like it's life or death, like it's the biggest thing to you right now, like it's a really big deal to you right now. But this lesson is preparing you for a moment in life where it's going to be clutch, vital, very important, more important than you think these things are to you currently, for you to be able to do that. I can't, the situations are going to be different for each individual. We could definitely look into that more and expand on that in a personal, private reading. We could look at, what that specific situation is and warning signs of when you'll know that that's coming in. But again, I feel that it will be this year. And that's why the lesson is now. You need to learn how to bring up the emotions that you want to emit, that you want to feel, that you want to put you in that frequency. You need to choose to learn this lesson, to take this opportunity, because it's going to be paramount. You're going to wish you did. You're going to wish that you knew how, when it really matters. You think that it really matters now because you've got to achieve this financial independence, or you've got to attract this divine partner into your life, right? I'm feeling, for some of you, it's going to be so paramount and so important the moment when you need to use this ability to call forth the emotion you want. Those things are going to pale in comparison. But it's good. It behooves you. It's great that you are so focused on them now, because it's pushing you to learn this lesson in a timely manner, in time. And for some of you, it is the succession of, right now it's about your financial independence. Later, it'll be about your maybe a romantic relationship, a divine partnership. But for others, it's greater than that. It has to do with your family, your work in the world at large, your well-being, your health. Well, absolutely your health at any point in any of your all's lives and any of our lives. The ability to call forth the emotion that we want to feel, rather than allowing the ones that arise as reactions to people and events outside of us. For any and all of us, that will certainly benefit our health moving forward now and for the rest of our lives. If we can start to own and empower ourselves with the knowledge and the fact that it's not more natural or more real or more genuine or authentic to allow emotions to come forth as reactions. That's not realer than choosing the emotion that you want. And I think now even more relevant is in the near future is your choice to adopt that type of mindset that it's just as real to choose your own emotions, that you're capable of it, that it can lead you to meeting the things and the people that you really want in your life at their frequency. And it's a lot about confidence and control for us. It's a lot about confidence and control for us, Aquarians. I have always hated that saying, fake it till you make it. I've probably said that before in readings. And that's at the crux of my issue with the law of attraction, or the law of resonant frequencies, or whatever, however you want to label it. Because that is a lot the trick here. And what I'm seeing, Aquarians, is that to reach this financial independence, to learn this lesson so that you're prepared for when it's more important later, or for some of you, a few of you, to attract in the partner that you want. What we're talking about faking until we make it is confidence and self-control. And I'm just sensing that like a lot of you have that feeling that you want it to be genuine. The confidence and the ability to govern your life will come as a natural byproduct of the financial independence. And as much as we would like it to work that way, it works in the opposite direction. Some people are lucky enough to be born into that type of financial independence. But if you're born into it and someone else hands it to you, is it really your own independence, right? I mean, you could question that. Not to say that wouldn't be enjoyable, and people in that situation aren't as lucky as they feel, sure. But it's not the path for a lot of us. It works the other way around. It's especially trying to think about it in a logical progression as an Aquarian mind. It really it falls in line that way. You attain the things that you need, and then the confidence will come about naturally. And the multiverse, your path, your mission, your lesson, your task at this time is asking you to do it the reverse way. Show that frequency, or show spirit, or whatever anchors you, whatever you're talking to in the scenario. Show the multiverse that you are and show yourself, that you have that confidence, that you have that self-control. And then in essence, what it plays out as is feeling like you are then rewarded with the things that a confident person in control of their life deserves, right? And it seems nonsensical, it seems backwards, but again, maybe it helps to reframe it as what you're doing is emitting a frequency, following it really, and meeting other things that are already on that frequency. And this is thinking too much about it, but if I can't overthink in an Aquarian video, then where can I? This is probably thinking too much into it, but if you think about it, it is lucky for us that those things that we want to meet, like we want to meet the experience of total abundance and security and being able to provide for a family, total financial independence and freedom, complete victory, right? Those experiences, those people, those places, those material things that mark that wealth can't move from the frequency that they're on, whereas we can shift and change frequencies. But those things that we want to experience and interact with, they're on that frequency, which is why we have to meet them where they are. But it's lucky for us, if you want to overthink it and think too much into it, that they can't move, that they don't move. Because you wouldn't want to reach financial independence and wealth and abundance only to have the frequency move. Right? It's us that moves, that shifts through these different frequencies. But it, you can think of it as it's once we meet it there, it's great that it's going to stay put once we figure out how to meet it there, right? So it's really, as all these readings are, it's really about, mastering this aspect of yourself. But again, it's your one major arcana. I know you have two major arcanas on the board. The Wheel of Fortune and the Emperor are both on the table, but what's standing out to me here is that this lesson is meant to happen at this time, which I hope offers some comfort. I hope this has offered some insight, some help that you didn't have when you came to the reading, Aquarians. I think that's a big takeaway for a lot of you, is if there's been a loss, if there's been a lack of funds where there was supposed to be income, it was meant to happen. And it seems like it can seem like it's tearing you down. But if you're given the opportunity to learn this lesson now before you really need to know the lesson. For some of you, that moment is coming sooner than for others. I think it's coming this year for all of us, but for some, it's where you're very near that time where you're going to need to have this lesson mastered. And I'm not saying that you have to have the law of attraction mastered, or that you have to, have the law of resonant frequencies, again, however you want to say it. I'm not saying you have to have that in its totality and entirety mastered, no. But this ability to manifest, call forth the emotion that you choose at any given time when you want to, that piece of the puzzle is what we're talking about mastering, and wrapping your mind around what that's worth and how powerful that is and how important that is in our human experience, to choose which emotions you want to allow to play out, allow to be spoken out loud, allow to dictate which frequency you then move to, what you attract into your life, if you prefer framing it that way, right? Mastering that portion of it, it seems like a punishment. It seems like a chore and a task and a trial and a problem and an issue and a punishment that you're going through, but it's actually a gift. It's an opportunity to learn this lesson before it would leave you defenseless in a moment where you don't know it, before you would be left defenseless in a moment without it. So for some of you, it's near, with the Seven of Wands reversed here. For some of you, that moment is nearer than for others. But this is your opportunity to learn how to take control of your life in that way. And again, if you're particularly fixated on a masculine counterpart at this time, I would point out again that fixation is likely very linked to the fact that unconsciously, or on some level, that you want to be the authority. You want to be the masculine power in your life. You want to be the one who calls the shots, who's in control, who defines your rules. So I guess what we're saying is just go ahead and let yourself be that. Maybe you don't feel like you have the wealth or the job or the raise or the title or the freedom, the money that one would need to feel like the authority, the emperor in their life, right? But, as the old saying goes, dress for the part you want, right? Dress for the job you want. Be the emperor. Know that you are in control already. And then the experiences, the wealth that you're wanting, or the relationship that you're wanting to meet and match you there it just will be there. You will find it. And, again, a little more overthinking with you all. You you are that emperor already. You are the authority. You are in charge in your life already. The message is about the fact that you just don't know it. We just don't know it. But it's our own frequencies, our own emotions, our own lack of celebration and focus on the lack in our life that is manifesting what feels like a problem currently. It is our own mental view of the situation as a problem instead of an opportunity to find and utilize the solution. It's, that seems like such an annoyingly positive perspective, but from that vantage point, you can see that if that's true, and maybe that's the question for a lot of you, do you believe that's true? But if that's true, then, you're already in charge and you're already creating what's around you. You're just in a place where you're not liking the things you're creating. So you want to change how you're creating. And we are a fixed sign too. So some of you may be stubborn, like, well, I like to create this way. Well, you're already creating. And you need to question maybe some of you if you believe that. But if you can get in touch with that, if you can hold on to that truth that we are already creating what you see around you, then again, you follow the train of thought. I am the creator. I just don't like what I'm creating. So the only logical move to make, Aquarians, is to change how you are creating. And this is asking us to do it in reverse, the other way around. Don't expect to attain the things you need and then be who you want to be. Be who you want to be, and you'll meet the things that you feel you need. I could have said it in 10 seconds instead of 36 minutes, I guess. But you see what we're getting at. This is a lot longer than I meant it to be, Aquarians. I hope that we dove down enough rabbit holes to help everyone who is looking for some insight here. Again, if you are interested in a private reading, just scroll down to the description below. All the information is there. LunarticksTarot@gmail.com is the email. Thank you all for contributing to the channel in any way that you can, that you do. It is so appreciated. I do hope that you will make wise choices for yourself moving forward, Aquarians. I love you, and I will post another tarot fix for us very soon.